I'd like to welcome you to the Public Works and Planning Committee meeting for April 8th, 2025. First, we'll do the roll call.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Cush.
Present.
Commissioner Piercy. Here. Commissioner P.
Here.
Commissioner James. Here. Commissioner Dodd.
Here.
Commissioner Boyd.
Here.
Chairman Johnson.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have approve the minutes. Vice Chairman Dodd.
Thank you, Chairman. I've read the minutes and make a motion for their approval.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Motion and a second to approve last month's minutes. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, we have public comments. First, we have, forgive me if I say it wrong, but I think it's Melissa Farley. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Melissa Farley. I live in North Murfreesboro. I have a finance degree.
Chairman, would you have them give their address?
I'm sorry. Yes. Anyone that's speaking on public comments, would you please give your name and address?
Okay. 2511 Claymore Run, Murfreesboro. I have a finance degree, an MBA, and 9 years of corporate finance and budgeting, so I'd like to share my opinion about why you should not consider bringing motions regarding the Republic expansion. Republic's plan shows 50 years of financial benefits to Rutherford County with no expenses. Does that sound too good to be true? Here are two giant offsets. Number one, a University of Colorado Boulder Environmental Center study talks about a lot of environmental and health factors that I would urge you to look into. One point it makes, though, large landfills on average decrease the value of the land adjacent to it by 12.9%, or an average of $50,000 per home in that area. If the landfill was closed and capped, Rutherford County real estate near the landfill would be worth an average of 12.9% more, according to this and other studies and local realtors. That plus 2,500 new homes built in that area in 50 years, since I'm comparing this to the 50-year Republic numbers. With those homes and an increase in land value, together this could easily be $800 million to $1 billion more in tax revenue to Rutherford County over 50 years at current millage rates. With only a 4% increase per year for home value. This could almost entirely offset Republic's numbers that Rutherford County employees say are overstated by hundreds of millions of dollars also. Rutherford County finance staff can run their own numbers to validate what I am saying. I'm sure this is hard for people to even imagine what East Jefferson Pike would look like with just a large grassy hill and without so much trash lining the road. But you can look at the old landfill and see a large grassy hill, and there are closed landfills around the country with high property values beside them. Number two, according to Scott Broden in the DNJ on 4/16/18, after a unanimous commission vote to reject allowing Middle Point to begin testing for a landfill expansion that's very much like the one Republic is again proposing, quote, Piercy and Jordan then called for another vote to prohibit Middle Point from ever expanding on county land. The motion passed 19-1 to 1, end quote. Hundreds of citizens and property developers have spent hundreds of millions of dollars on real estate transactions in this area based on this decision. For example, developers who have spent millions of dollars to buy nearby land have been contacted and are upset, thinking the landfill property was going to be closed and capped. And I think you will be hearing from them in the future. Nearly everyone we have talked to has been shocked that this has come up again because, quote, my realtors told me that was closing. This wasn't the realtors being dishonest. They and we have heard and read for years the landfill is closing in X number of years. With commissioners getting fake calls from the Republic mailer and citizens' emails bouncing back undeliverable, I am not sure the decision makers realize how upset people are going to be when they learn there's a possibility of allowing Middle Point to pollute our air, water supply, and real estate for another 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Diane Parker. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Diane Parker. I live at 2101 Wimbledon Drive, Murfreesboro. I want to talk about this mailer that most of Rutherford County got in Murfreesboro. It says your local government's considering terms for a new landfill. It made it seem like it was coming from the county. It actually was paid for and came from Republic. That was admitted to in the town hall about 3 weeks ago. After a little bit of finagling, they finally admitted that they did send it out and pay for it. D&I Corporation is a paid marketing company in Nashville. I did my research on them. I'm not going to go into the bullet points about these non-bullet points that they list. But number one, they say they'll end disposal of Nashville residential waste, nothing about commercial waste and industrial waste. Those are the two more hazardous, I believe. Short and sweet, I do not agree with extending the landfill. I definitely oppose any extension of the landfill. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Myers. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Eric Myers. I'm at 7324 Appomattox Drive in District 2. Been there since 1998. I would like to take a few minutes to express my opinions regarding the landfill situation. Garbage can be a problem, but we are dealing with something much more serious than household waste. Based on reports from the Tennessee Lookout, landfill operators have allowed approximately 680,000 tons of aluminum dross to be deposited in Middle Point landfill, which, as all of us know, sits next to our water supply. The EPA has listed aluminum dross as a potential contributing factor, leading to the special designation of Middle Point as an elevated temperature landfill. This type of waste can eat through the much touted polyethylene liner, allowing the Middle Point landfill to continue operating with toxic industrial substances and a compromised liner may involve more persistent and damaging environmental impacts than the county landfill with a clay liner with less toxic chemical reactions. I would like to remind everyone here of the remarks made by the landfill's attorney in response to the Central Solid Regional Waste Board. Quote, "It doesn't have the authority to consider any evidence of aluminum waste or odors and should therefore reject the evidence presented by Murfreesboro officials. BFI believes the board strays from its authority in considering these issues. Odors or other operational issues are not part of the board's purview." To me, his remarks sound like the landfill could conduct operations any way they wanted without any regard to valid concerns, as indeed they have for many years now. I would like to remind everyone, when the landfill's attorney makes statements like that, they are not holding to the idea of Rutherford first. They are holding us to an all too familiar attitude of indifference to the concerns of the county's citizens. It does not matter what pie-in-the-sky promises are being made now. Actions speak louder than words. Let everyone here consider whether this type of partner that we want to trust for the future of our county. The Bible tells us the mistakes we make now can cascade down to the third and fourth generations of the people around us. The County Commission must not only consider the dangers an out-of-control landfill can have on current residents of this county, but on future generations.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir. Sir, for clarification, is your name Derek or Eric? Eric. Eric. Yes, thank you. Joseph Gray. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Joseph Gray. I live in District 17 at 1345 Winland Drive, and I'm a student at MTSU and an officer for the Students of Environmental Action on campus. I moved here about a year ago to study environmental science and quickly heard about the infamous Middle Point landfill, more locally known to us folks as Trash Mountain or Mount Trashmore. As someone passionate about the environment and the Murfreesboro community, it is frightening to see the potential expansion of such an already massive landfill. As many already know, the Commission has voted against this in the past, and there are already plans currently being carried out by our county and our city to handle this waste. We don't need to expand Middle Point, we need to let it go into closure. I hate not only the eyesore of the mountain, but also the smell, along with the environmental and health issues that can occur from this continued expansion of Middle Point, which would be devastating to the people and property values in the area. Republic has repeatedly lied to us and shown us that they are not a friend of or a good partner to the community. I implore our commission not to support this expansion. The citizens of Rutherford County deserve better, and they don't want an expansion. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Clark. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Laura Clark. My address is 911 Netherland Drive in Murfreesboro. Expansion of the landfill by Republic is not our best or only option for solid waste disposal, and Rutherford County has plans in place to address solid waste. We should not rush into more discussions about Republic or an agreement with Republic before we've had a chance to see how the new transfer station is working or how the grant-funded recycling program will be implemented by Donna Barrett, or how the reconstituted Solid Waste Advisory Committee, we affectionately say SWAC, SWAC, how they advise the county on this matter. And by the way, I hope that Republic does not hold a seat on that committee. We need to have citizens on that committee. Republic has eroded the trust of our community with their intentionally misleading communications. For example, the postcards that were mentioned by a previous speaker. And also by enticing individual commissioners by paying for amenities in their districts. Loss of trust over these years undermines any future agreement or contract that the county could enter with Republic. This has become a moral question as well as an environmental question in my view, because there's been so much misleading communication from Republic that I no longer trust them. So I ask that this committee not advance any motion or action to continue negotiations with Republic. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you. Richard Silk. Richard Silk. Welcome, sir. You did make it.
Richard Silk, 1103 Scotland Drive. I'd like to thank y'all for this meeting. I'd also like to draw your attention to a water bill. Now y'all may think, what's a water bill got to do with solid waste? Well, this bill says that I paid $1.99 for a month's worth of water. And on top of that, I had a lot of other charges, including a solid waste fee of $11.50. In other words, they're charging me $11.50 to take out the garbage from my curb. Now, being a single person, I take the garbage can out maybe once a month, whereas other people take it out once a week. So I'm paying roughly, what was that, $42.97 for less than $2 worth of water. Much of that is going to waste, literally. There was a time when you got billed for sewage equal to your water. So if I had spent $2 of water, I'd spend $2 in sewage. That's gone. Why? I can only ascribe that to gross mismanagement in the past. Not on anyone here. These bills and rates were probably in effect long before y'all came into office. But I'd also like to present out the fact that when you got this republic and the landfill and the city and the alternative measures and all that, you still got person A paying person B, and there's money changing hands. Someone's going to get rich. Why not let the county get rich by, instead of even going into waste management, per se, we get into a waste thermal transfer point, thermal energy, where they incinerate the waste, transform that into electricity, and sell that electricity to the county, to the consumers. Now, if you want to, you could even partner up with Metro Davidson, and the thermal energy plant would only cost half as much as if you paid for it all for yourself. By doing this, all the waste would eventually go into the thermal plant, be converted to energy, be sold as electricity, and make money for the county. What do you think about that? The county's making money instead of taking money from its citizens. And I've heard lots of talk about millions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars. Hello, Phil. And even billions of dollars. But if you have a thermal energy plant, sure, it's going to cost X amount of dollars to build. It's an investment. But it's the investment that pays. It's like building a water pump that continuously pumps water. You keep bringing in garbage, you keep putting out energy. You keep selling the energy, the money keeps going back to the county, better facilities, better schools, better transportation, better parks, better everything. So, rather than going for Republic or against Republic, I'm suggesting you consider instead a thermal transfer type aspect, a third option. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. Thank everyone that spoke tonight, and thank everyone else for being here to listen or show the support. Next on the agenda, we have a possible Lavergne Convenience Center site. Got Eric Hennessy will explain what it is, but we've been looking for another site down there because Lavergne needs the site that we're on. They actually own it. So Eric has been tasked with that problem, or maybe not so much of a problem, but he's doing good work and has brought the information forward to us. So, Eric?
So, Commissioners, Eric Hennessy, Chief of Staff. I'm sure you recall that we originally were going to look at the Lavergne school site for a possible location for a new convenience center in Lavergne. It's my understanding that they started doing some preliminary work looking at that, and it won't work. It has sinkholes. What I was told, basically a river runs through there. And so that meant we had to find another site. Commissioner Johnson suggested some sites, and I've spoke to one of those gentlemen. I think Mayor Cole has suggested a site, and then the mayor's office ourselves, we have been looking for a site as well. We think we have an option, and what we would be suggesting or requesting tonight is that this committee, which ultimately would go to the full commission, give the mayor's office the authority to negotiate any possible sites in Lavergne for a convenience center location. Obviously, that would have to come back for approval before this committee and the full commission. And also, we would want to make sure that the zoning is right and that the environmentals and the geotechnical and all that stuff would be part of the negotiation. But that's what we're requesting, is that the committee give the mayor's office the authority to reach out and try to negotiate a price with possible convenience center locations in the city of Lavergne.
Any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Dodd?
Thank you. Any thought on, give us a little bit of scope or scale? How many acres do you think y'all are going to start with, or but any parameters at all?
So I think each site is different. Some of the sites we have been looking at are 5 acres, 6 acres, up to 12 acres, I believe. So I think probably 5 is a minimum, and 6, 7, somewhere around in that neighborhood was probably optimal.
Do we know how many acres the G Street is, for instance, or Lavergne? Does anybody know how many acres are in any of the other centers?
Bishop's not here tonight.
Do we, is there any thought from you guys that we have any dollar increment to start the negotiation, or do we you just bring back anything you find and we go from there? Because you can't negotiate unless you have a number.
So in my opinion, it would be better for the commission not to set a price, because as soon as you set a price, then that becomes the price that they're going to ask us to pay for the property. I think that if we can negotiate with some of these potential sites, then any price that we get would have to come back to the commission for approval.
Commissioner Phillips, did you have something? Chairman Phillips? Okay. Any further questions? Chair would entertain a motion.
I'm ready to make a motion if you want.
Sure.
Okay. Based on this information, it sounds like, Eric, you just are trying to find some properties, make a short list of properties, and then...
We have one that we think will work.
Okay.
Just to be fully transparent, but we don't know for sure that it will work. And so there's some other sites that have been kind of considered. There's a site that I said that Anthony Johnson had let me know about that's about 12 acres. We've not reached out to anybody on that one yet. We're just trying to get this ball moving.
Okay. So you're looking for this body to make a motion to give the mayor's office the ability to go out and talk to landowners to negotiate a proposed deal. Then that information will come back to us with dollar amount, acreage, things like that.
Absolutely, yes.
Then I will make that motion to give that authority to the mayor's office to seek that land, and then you come back with pricing.
Thank you.
I didn't say that very well, but that's the gist, yes.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. And that's to approve the mayor's office to negotiate a price on any property that they see that will possibly work for the future convenience center in Lavergne. Is that correct? Did I understand you right, Commissioner Cush? Yes.
Well, I mean, obviously, we would want to negotiate the price with any potential properties that we found and then bring what we were able to negotiate back to the commission for approval,
Right.
yes.
Right. Okay, everyone understand the motion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Planning and Engineering Director's report. Doug DeMasi. Welcome, Doug.
Good evening, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well tonight. Doug DeMasi, County Planning Director. Just have a couple items for your consideration tonight. The first is the presentation of our available lot inventory. That would be through March of this year. You'll see on, PDF page 6 of 9 that the total available lots as of the end of March would be 1,089. That's actually down from last month, quite a few lots. There was last month, and Tanya will get into this here in just a few minutes, there was a pretty active month as far as building permits, but as far as plat recording, we didn't have as many large sections. This year, we've had a higher lot inventory so far, in the thousands, between 1,000 and 1,100 or so, based on, or versus the last quarter of last year, where it kind of ranged in the 900s. Of course, this time of year, it's starting to speed up again as far as development and as far as new home starts and things. So that's not terribly surprising. But just wanted to give you that update. So if there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to entertain those.
Do you have any questions? Okay.
Very good. If not, I will go into our rezoning report. We just have one case for your consideration at next week's meeting. This is by Mr. Brian Sullivan. This is located at 8912 and 8954 Las Casas Pike. Property is currently zoned residential low density. They are asking for agricultural residential AR zoning, and the size of the site's going to be approximately 14 acres. It's in 2 tracts, all of 8912 Las Casas Pike, and then 2.5 acres of the other tract, and I'll explain how that's going to work. As I stated, the applicant would like to rezone the entirety of 8912 and a portion of 8954, which would be combined with the one at 8912, which is where the applicant's house is located. He wants to zone that to agricultural residential to establish a dog obedience, training, and boarding type business. There is an exhibit that shows the extent of the zoning change in your agenda packets, as well as where the proposed building would be for his business. This is not a planned development, but it does give you an idea of what he wants to do moving forward. This type of business is defined as a kennel, which is classified as animal care and veterinarian services in our zoning ordinance. This use is not allowed as a major or a minor home-based business in the current zone, RL, but it is allowed by special exception in the agricultural residential zone. So what I'm saying essentially is even if you rezone the property, they would still have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the business itself. Approval of the zoning does not approve the business. Most of the standards that we have for, say, non-residential development wouldn't apply in this case because agricultural residential is a residential zone. However, the Board of Zoning Appeals does have the ability to put additional conditions as far as extra parking spots, landscape screening, and those kind of things. During the Planning Commission's meeting, there were questions about public notification if the existing house at 8954 Las Casas Pike would just be used for rental purposes. We did discuss our notification protocols as we do for all rezoning applications, and the applicant does plan to rent the house at 8954. Again, they do live in 8912. There were some questions about his business as well and the parking. The applicant came forward, said that they were proposing about accommodations for 10 cars, but could provide more if the Board of Zoning Appeals did require that. He also said that his business would be primarily obedience training, and there would be no events on the property, so more of a low-key type business. However, I do want to reiterate, approval of the zoning would not approve his business, and the applicant's well aware of that. Nobody spoke during the public hearing, and after that, the Planning Commission did recommend approval by a unanimous vote. So I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Have any questions? Okay. There's no questions. Oh, yeah.
That's all I got. Yes, sir.
Hey, do we have a motion to? Motion to approve the report is presented. And a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you very much. All the good.
Building Codes Report, Director Tanya Bell.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Director of the Building Codes Department. My name is Tanya Bell, and I have the monthly report for March for building codes. We issued a total of 427 building permits in the month of March. 113 of those were single-family dwellings, for a total revenue of $333,688.90. We had one new commercial building. That was the new Farm Credit office building on Murfreesboro Street. They obtained their permit this month, or this past month. We completed a total of 1,680 inspections and drove a little better than 8,000 miles. And if nobody has any questions with that, I will move on to school facilities tax. The month of March, we collected $347,552 in school facilities tax and $750 development tax fee.
Okay.
And I will move on to zoning enforcement if
Ma'am.
nobody has any questions on development tax, school facilities tax, excuse me. We completed a total of 142 zoning enforcement inspections and picked up, they had a few slow days, so they went out and picked up some signs. They picked up a total of 238 signs on county right-of-ways in the month of March. And that concludes my monthly report.
Motion and a second to approve the report. Any discussion? Or all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Highway Department. Superintendent Greg Brooks. Welcome.
I'm sorry. Good evening, everyone. I am Greg Brooks. I am the Rutherford County Road Superintendent, and I'm here tonight with a few things for your consideration. Some budget amendments, drainage easement, and then my actual annual operating budget to be moved on to the Budget Committee and then the full commission. So we will start, I believe, what you see first will be the drainage easement approval. This is to allow us to go in and do a temporary construction easement to repair a fallout in a drainage easement, a sinkhole, if you will. So it's just a temporary easement. We'll be in and out quick, and this will be, and then it will expire, I think, 6 months after we do the work. You'd like me to move on, take these one at a time? I don't really know how you want to do this. The next few things are spending money, so I didn't know if you want to consider this drainage easement first and then move on to the budget, budget amendments, or just take them all.
It's the will of the committee. Do you want to take them one at a time? Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve this temporary easement. All in favor? All opposed? Okay.
Okay, thank you. The next thing is some budget amendments. You should see a $975,000 decrease and increase for some bridges that we're having repaired or rebuilt, replaced. And then some overtime, some additional overtime money. We between the snows and the floods, we have spent all of our overtime money, so we need some more overtime money. So for the, I think the first one I have here is the bridge. Actually, no, this first one I have is the overtime money. You will see it's moving some money around of equipment operators for overtime pay, mechanics, and assistants. That amounts to $15,000. And then the next part of this is the bridge construction. You should see on 131, $68,705 line item that we started in our original budget with $150,000. We have amended to date by $1,150,000. That's for 2 bridges that we did a budget amendment for. And then we have 2 more that are represented by this $975,000. So we'll be moving from our fund balance $975,000 into our bridge construction line item. This was voted on at the road board meeting this past Thursday. 5 yeses, 1 absent, and 1 abstention.
Greg, a note at the bottom of one of the pages says this is a bridge replacement on Swamp Road and then bridge repairs on North Lane.
Correct.
Are these multiple bridges or culvert replacements on Swamp Road, or what?
Swamp Road is a complete bridge tear out and replace, and then there was, I think, about $35,000 that was spent to do some repairs on North Lane to head off some erosion.
Okay. Is the Swamp Road replacement, is that aging out, or is that a capacity issue? What improvements are you hoping to gain by this new replacement?
The bridge that existed on Swamp Road was on our list 1 bridge list, so it had to be replaced before I could move on to something on list 2 and use state aid funds. So we're using our fund balance to do this work so that I can use my state aid funds to do a larger structure. So it had been derated to the point where it had to be replaced. It couldn't be repaired. As you know, or some of you may know, may not know, TDOT, Department of Transportation, inspects all of our bridges that are 20 feet or longer every 2 years, and we get a report on those. And that puts all of our bridges on list 1, list 2, list 3. List 1 being the most critical.
Greg, is that all your budget transfers, the bridge and the other 2 that you mentioned?
Yes.
I'm going to make a motion that we approve those budget amendments and forward them to budget.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve these and send them on to budget. All in favor? Well, any discussion?
Probably need to be on the board for this.
I have a general question. How long can the people out there expect the bridge replacement, like timeline? How long does it take to replace a bridge like that?
Well, there's a lot of things. It's difficult to say, but I believe that particular one will take about 6 months, and they're already underway. So, hopefully by fall it'll be completed. They're doing very well. They're moving right along. However, some of this rain that we've had has slowed them down a little bit. The water's come up and messed them up a little, but 6 months tops, I believe.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we'll be on the board. Well, roll call.
Yes, roll call. Commissioner Kush?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Aye.
Thank y'all.
Okay, the next thing is that you should see is my annual operating budget, upcoming budget. And for clarification, I'd like to point out that historically, the seated superintendent has always brought the annual operating budget to this committee for its approval to send it on to the budget committee, so the budget committee can in turn get it to the full commission. Now, this budget has been passed again Thursday at the road board meeting, and with 5 yeses, 1 absentee, and 1 abstention. So think that really the motion should be from Public Works, should be to move this budget, this annual operating budget, onto the Budget Committee. I believe that's, I believe that's the intent. I believe that's why it's always come here. So anyway, that being said, you should be able to see a budget summary on your computers there, and you will see that we have, once again, we are presenting a balanced budget. We've decreased the budget actually from last year because last year we had a lot of capital improvements. We had bridge replacements, and then we had some equipment, we purchased some new equipment. So you'll see a difference last year to this year of a little over $3 million, $3.3 million. And that is represented by the budget amendments we did for bridge replacement and equipment purchases. So I don't know if you have any specific questions that I'd maybe answer for you, or you can see the final numbers on the revenue and the final numbers on the expenditure sheet there, and see that we are indeed presenting a balanced budget.
Mr. Cush.
Thank you, Chair. Greg, without getting into the details, I guess I'm assuming one of your big ticket items is paving.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk here about that.
Okay.
And again, I have not looked at the numbers, so I'm just gonna guess.
Okay.
Which is always dangerous. The cost of asphalt, cost of fuel, the cost of the base material of asphalt is ever increasing, right?
Yes.
One question is, do the potential, none of these are really tied to tariff issues, right? These are all locally harvested.
Correct.
Right, so
that is correct.
That part is a moot point.
Correct.
But the cost and the demand for these are high. This is a hot construction zone still in Middle Tennessee. So the demand for these materials is at in my opinion, an all-time high. Have you been projected cost increases for asphalt for the next fiscal year? And I'm assuming, I know you have, taken those costs in consideration. I guess I'm saying all this to say this. Have you properly cushioned yourself for those asphalt cost increases? And are you, with these monies, even though you've got a $3.5 million decrease, the county and all of our constituents are still going to see the same excellence in paving, pothole repair? Nothing is going to take a step down in terms of your continued quality in paving, right?
That is correct. In fact, it is our intention to continually improve our workmanship and quality. But yes, I believe that this does account for what we are currently paying for our vended material, if you will. We pick up, we install our own asphalt. So we pick up material at a plant. Now we bid that out. We have some options, so we get bidders every time. We bid that out annually. However, each bid comes with the option to renew for 3 times. We just received a letter from our current vendor for an option to renew at our current price per ton for the next year. So we should be fine. However, since you asked the question, and we'll get off into the minutia of it a little bit here, depending on what we are able to get resurfaced, we could use more material one year than the next year. So, for instance, if we do a lot of subdivision work, subdivision streets, it's a lot slower than if we're out doing a rural county road somewhere where there's not intersections and all that type, driveway connections and all that type of thing. So we try to average 45 miles of resurfacing per year. That's what this number represents. So some years we may do more subdivisions than others, and we may only get 30, 32 miles. Other years we may do more rural county roads and get 60 miles. So that can vary. The price is locked in for a year. I feel pretty good about that. But what can vary is the amount of work we get done. And quite honestly, we're always going to be behind to some level. There are always things that need to be done. There are always roads that need to be repaved. So if we have a great year and I need to come to you near the end of next season and say that we're going to do a budget amendment, pull from our fund balance and put that into it's actually in the 62,402 line item. That's the asphalt line item, to buy some additional material so that we can keep working, then that's what we'll do. But typically we put a little money back. I can tell you that I don't want to misspeak, but I think about 3 years ago, I think that 62,000 account, that 402 account there, I think that was 3.2 million, and now it's 4.5 million. So we have had to increase that as material costs have increased. More information than you wanted?
What would keep you from doing 60 miles of paving a year versus the 45 average? Is that manpower?
No, it's kind of logistics. It's how far are we from the plant? How much material can we get out to the operation in a day's time? And how fast or slow are we moving on that job? Subdivision streets move a lot slower. There's a lot more handwork and that type of thing than a rural county road where you can just sit down and go. So it's kind of logistics, if you will.
Do you have like a working list so we kind of have an idea of where your plan is at and how, so we can kind of gauge throughout the year of these meetings where you're kind of lining up to kind of preemptive and be ready to say you might need that adjustment, or we just kind of have to wait?
We do not have a list that, I try to like focus on an area so that while we're there, we get several things taken care of, and then we'll move on to another area. Like we might be in the southwest part, and then we move to the northeast part, so we don't have to move the equipment around a lot, because there's a lot of things associated with moving equipment that we try to avoid. But the list is, how's the best way to put this? A living document. It changes as we stumble across things that we see might have a higher priority. Like for instance, if we're out, we get a call about something, we go out to look at it, and we see a road that's in worse shape than the road that we were planning on moving to next week when we finish this job, then we may adjust just because of a greater need. The road could be in worse condition, or it could be in a similar condition to the road we planned on doing, but it could have a lot larger traffic volume. So it's kind of a moving target.
Any more questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Joshua?
I move
James.
to approve this budget summary and move it on to budget.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the proposed budget and send it on to budget. So, roll call.
Yes, that's all I have for you.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner P? Yes. Commissioner Cush?
Yes.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Dodd?
Yes.
Commissioner Boyd?
Yes.
Chairman Johnson?
Aye.
Thank y'all.
If you would allow me to, I would like to make a couple of introductions.
Okay, that's great.
James, Samantha, would you come up for a moment, please? Some of you are aware, some of you are not aware. Ms. Phyllis Fulks, who has been with our Public Works Department since it was started in 2004, recently retired. I can't say enough good things about her. She was very instrumental to all their accomplishments. But she retired, and then our Public Works engineer moved to a different area. His wife has people up in Knoxville, and they have several children, and so they're going up there so that they can get their parents to help them raise their children, and it's worked out really well. Ben Friend was a good help. He was our former Public Works engineer. So Miss Samantha Swanson is replacing Miss Phyllis Fultz. She joined us January 6th, I believe, this year. She's really doing a great job for us. Mr. James Locum just started 17th of March, and we are very excited about both of these young people. And I'd just like to point out that not only are we really getting a lot of things accomplished over at the Highway Department, we have secured a couple of young people here that I feel like will be with us for a long time and will serve us well, because some of us are aging out. So,
yeah.
Public Works Legal Secretary, Public Works Engineer.
Sir. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you all.
Hey, Greg. I just wanted to remind you, with May coming and that medieval festival, Renaissance Festival that happens up there, if you could continue to keep that in your mind to work with the Sheriff's Office to help out with the traffic flow in Spantown.
Back already?
Superintendent Brooks.
Greg, before you leave, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, and I'll say what I've got to say later.
I'd just like to compliment you, your staff, and your department as it relates to having the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County at heart. Your commitment, especially on Landfill Road, has saved the county literally millions of dollars, and your idea to handle that in-house is exceptional. The budget that you present year after year after year is fiscally responsible, and I'm proud of you, your staff, your department, for doing those kind of things that, in my mind, is in the best interest of the citizens of Rutherford County. A perfect example of the caliber of employees that you have deals with something like injuries and workers' compensation, and his department goes year after year after year after year without a single solitary on-the-job injury. And that's a caliber of him being doing what's in the best interest of his citizens and putting their safety and their families first. So I just could not pass up this opportunity to publicly commend you and the work that you do for the county of Rutherford. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that. Like we all know, it's really about the people we have around us. It's really about the people we have helping us, and that's the same with me. I have a great staff, great employees, and I do believe that they all have the best interest of the citizens of this county in mind. I mean, they do a great job for us.
They do. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Now I don't have to say what I was going to say when I yielded to you, because you said exactly what I was going to say. So, but thank you, Greg. Solid Waste and Convenience Center report. Director Wagner won't be here tonight. It'll be Matthew Davis. Welcome, Matthew.
Good evening. I'm Matt Davis, your Assistant Solid Waste Director. Rutherford County Landfill accepted 136.99 tons of brush for a revenue of $4,119 in the month of March 2025. We managed 1,328 tires in March for revenue of $2,113. March total revenue from landfill scale operations was $7,032. Rutherford County Solid Waste managed 3,650.22 tons of waste from all sources in the month of March. 2,595.46 tons came from convenience centers. 587.64 tons came from schools. We recycled and diverted 467.12 tons from all sources. That makes a residential diversion rate of 12.8% for March. That concludes my report.
Any questions on the report? We have a motion and a second to approve the report. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay. Thank you. I had one thing for you, Matthew.
Yes, sir.
There's that heavy gavel again. I was going to ask Bishop, but I'll ask you to relay this to him, please. I was going to ask Bishop if he would come to our next month's meeting, May meeting, and give us an update plan on the transfer station plan with financials, basically the gate rate, how it will apply, what we have to do per state regulations to set up that gate rate, what they require. I guess just a whole ball of wax, the tonnage that we're expecting, where it come from. Will it be in-county, a mixture of outer county and in-county? Loading and shipping cost, I think we pretty well got that narrowed down, but just if we could just include that all in one
Absolutely.
update.
I know those conversations are being had right now with us and other department heads, so I expect there'll be some information for you soon.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. I just wanted to just give you some information or thoughts of what I'm thinking, where I'm trying to go with this. In the May meeting, Waste Management will be presenting an update on their partnership with the transfer station and potential recycling. Along with that, I've been talking with Mayor McFarland several times. We had some good talks, and we both agree that SWAC, that's a Solid Waste Advisory Committee that was set up under Mayor Burgess, should be resurrected. That would be consisting of new members, and that would be representatives from the county, Murfreesboro, Smyrna, Lavergne, and Eagleville. And this would include both the mayor of Murfreesboro and the mayor of county. And the purpose, and I took this off where I looked up the previous committee. The purpose is to establish the best way to move forward that best serves the taxpayers by recommending steps that are sound for the economy and the environment. And this does include not only the members of that board, but community input. I'm in favor and in agreement with Mayor McFarland that that's what we need to do to move us forward. And most of you are here tonight because that's what I've been trying to do. I've been asked to try to help move us forward to a future plan, a long-range plan, not just a for now plan, but a long-range plan. And I've done that. I know had many emails, many calls, threats. I'm just trying to do my job. That's all I've done. I've done what I was asked to do. But everything has to come to a head. And I can stay up here and, I mean, I'm not resigning, don't think that, but I can come up here and do my job every meeting, and I can go home, not rest as well as I would if I wasn't coming up here dealing with this, but I do it because I have a passion for this. My wife has always supported that, my family, and that's what I do. And I understand the compassion that you people have out there in the community around Walker Hill and the whole area, and back some into town. I understand that, and I listen to everyone. But all I've been trying to do, what we've been trying to do, is get information to come up with a plan, a long-range plan. This is one step. That's why I've been talking with Mayor McFarland. This is one huge step I think we can take to work toward a proper plan that will appease everyone, and going back to the purpose. I think we can accomplish that. But like I said, I've been trying to get all the information forward. That's kind of come to a halt. There doesn't seem to be support to gain that information anymore. And I accept that. I'll do what committee or the commission wants. And there again, I listen to all the people. I listen to everybody. I can guarantee you I do. I've answered many of the phone calls or text. I'm answering them up 1 o'clock in the morning. Hopefully I'm not waking them up. I'm just getting it on there so I don't forget. Sorry. But there's 3 people I want to thank, and they live out in that community around the landfill. And that's Mrs. Wooten and Mr. and Mrs. Haney. They emailed me and were upset. I understand that. But we had back and forth dialogue, and I appreciate the way they approached me on this issue. Fine, upstanding citizens. They didn't bash me. They let me know their issues, and that's what I wanted to hear. I don't diss anybody. I listen to everyone. But that's where we are. After all this is said and done, don't see the support to go further in any further information gathering from Republic. So I'm not really sure how to bring it to a halt, but I'm hoping, since I've said what I've said, that the committee is thinking now and will help me decide where we're going. But the plan is, my plan, no matter what, is to move this county forward in the best way possible. That's why I'm up here. I was gone I was here 17 years, I was gone 12, and I'm back because I ran on trying to make a difference in the situation out there with the landfill. That's why I ran and came back up here, 73 years old. But I've got some life left in me, and if my constituents want me back, I know I've got one more term in me, but that would be it. I know that would be it. But I appreciate you listening to me. I'm sorry if I rambled, but does anyone else on the committee have any input?
I do, Mr. Chairman, if I could have the floor. I had a feeling that you were going to ask Bishop to clarify the transfer station opening next month. And
yes.
I know that Waste Management's coming next month to talk about their concept of operating the transfer station. I've had hundreds of emails, hundreds of phone calls, hundreds of voicemails. It's been a very tense period of time for me personally and my household. Hearing your comments and something Laura Clark said tonight from the podium, but we have some other experts, other components of solid waste that are going to speak to us in upcoming months, including Waste Management and Bishop. And what Laura said really helped validate a motion I'm prepared to make tonight for this group to consider. And that motion is, at this time, Public Works requests no additional information from Republic Services regarding expansion of landfill, and that we cease further discussion with Public Works. We cease further discussion with Republic Services regarding the expansion of Middle Point landfill.
Second.
And I can read that again if you need that.
Please.
Yeah, Phil, I think I heard you say the Public Works Committee. Can we not? Can we not expand that to full commission? Or, I mean, I would like to send that same message, or maybe alter that motion to cease and desist with Republic as a whole committee. I mean, as a whole commission, not just isolate it to the Public Works Committee. So, I mean, that's the first thing. I just heard you say Public Works.
Yeah, and I did specifically. That's all that I have the authority of here, this group.
Would you be willing to take that motion up to full commission for a consideration, or
my motion stands. However, however it evolves. That Public Works has been tasked with having Republic Services come in. We when you were chair, we were tasked with multiple people that came in, like Mr. Silk shared all these alternatives to solid waste. So all I know is the tension on the community. I'd like to tamp that down, and it starts here because we started the conversation when Republic presented to us. So as vice chair of this committee, that's where my mind has to start, that Public Works will not entertain at this time any more information from Republic, nor will we consider expansion of the landfill. If that motion if that ends up at the full commission, so, you know.
How about we just add that we then send this vote or the result of this vote up to full commission for?
I would expect the chairman to entertain amendments to the motion since it was seconded. Did you second it? So if whatever amendments might occur, I wanted to generate this conversation because I need to hear from all you guys, and I don't know how else to do it unless we have this debate here. I move that this time that Public Works Committee requests no additional information for Public Services and cease further discussion with Republic Services regarding the expansion of Middle Point landfill.
Mr. Piercy.
Thank you. Are we putting any type of time limit on it? Is it through this commission, this member commission, or no time limit?
No, and again, Ms. Clark kind of helped me validate. We're about to hear from other components of solid waste. I don't want to make any decision. I want to hear what a transfer station short-term looks like. No, I don't have a time frame on it. It's open to this group, is my opinion.
Just for clarification, could we also, you mentioned Republic, but could we also, from a legal standpoint, any other trade names that Republic is associated with, BFI or whatever stock trade, you see what I'm getting at? What any other entities that Republic goes by?
Again, I'm open to amendments that are I don't know how else to, yeah. Yeah. The intent is to respond to the tension in the community, the misinformation, the rumors, we haven't been able to hear from the commission itself, what does our transfer station look like? What are we going to do with it? How many tons? And it's because there's this other element of Republic doing mailers and Republic doing voicemails and phone calls and citizens suggesting we're going to vote to expand tonight. So I'm trying to tamp that down and have some arena where Bishop can talk about our transfer station without the threat of, well, we're going to, whatever you say, we're going to expand. I want to tamp that down, take that off the board. I want to hear from the city of Murfreesboro with our chair and dialogue with them on their transfer station. What does that look like? How many tons? We've saying from our mayor, how many tons, how many dollars, what is the gate rate going to look like? There's so many elements that I feel if we need to get the Middle Point landfill expansion, whoever, off the board and have this other greater discussion. And that others just contaminating my capacity to hear, or even the capacity of those others to speak to us. I think everybody's scared to talk to us because there's a lawsuit going on. There's Central Tennessee Waste Board is maneuvering through. So I just want to, again, my motion is to no more information requested, no more from BFI, from anybody with Middle Point landfill, and cease the discussion about expansion. And let's let these other parties in our current solid waste short-term program speak to us.
Commissioner Dodd, if I may, what I think I'm understanding you to say is this started here. Republic was brought back to give us any information, everything we could get out of them. Simple way to put it. They took the 9 bullet points, that was a starting point, and sent that out in a mailer. And from that time on, there was a firestorm, and it was started here. So what I'm understanding you to say is it started here, it didn't start at the commission, even though some other commissioners had spoken to me individually and said they wanted more information. That's fine. That's what we've done, is gone after that information. But it started here, so we'll let it die here. That's what I'm understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes. Again, this commissioner made the motion that was seconded that we do not ask for any more information, and we cease discussion of an expansion.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. James.
I'm still kind of confused on the why, the wording, the when, because nothing was going to come up today until you made the motion about it just now. And it has that feeling, and forgive me, in this couple of years in this seat, I've grown more and more kind of skeptic on some of these issues. So it has that feeling like on the surface it's one thing, but it's going to lead us into a different path down the road. And I can't quite see it through the shadows, but it just feels like there's something else there. Because, like I said, nothing would have progressed if in the 11th hour even this motion hadn't come up. So I'm kind of confused and baffled by the premise of it and what value it will bring, especially since right before you discussed it, we were told that they've invited Waste Management to come in during our last report. Solid Waste was asked to bring all their numbers in. So next month, anyway, all the other information was going to be in. Furthermore, we never asked for any of the information other than our chairman asked the Republic to come in and speak that one time, and they went on their own. So this wouldn't prevent them from going out and soliciting the public as they've been doing, as we've all been seeing the emails and the calls. So for me, this motion feels like it has no value. It feels like it would be the same thing as if we didn't even bring it up. And that's because the only way they get a seat at the table, a chance to come in the room, is if one of us brings them up in here. And so that's where I'm confused. I'm trying to really understand the why, the reasoning, what's the why behind the why, the real motivation for it.
Yeah, I guess again, I keep picking on Laura Clark, but she gave me the validation. We let's hear from the others. Take this off the table till we hear from the others. But also, I've gotten so many texts. What are you going to vote? Are you voting yes or no? And I've been saying yes or no to what? There is no vote. There's nothing. There's no body that has the authority to have a vote. And so the confusion is that we're about to, I'm tamping down the rumor, I'm tamping down the misinformation that we're going to have a vote to expand the landfill by saying, Chairman, let's declare to the community that we're taking it off the table. We're not asking for more information from Republic. That's been I think there's been some pressure on the chairman that Republic wants to present more, or there's been questions of Republic, and Republic says, well, I'm not going to answer till we get to a negotiating table. There is no party to whom we negotiate, and I'm just trying to take it off the board, tamp it down, because there is no vote. So I guess I'm just clarifying, I'm saying there's a vote, and it's and I'll let Chairman Phillips jump in. I'm trying to bring the temperature down, the pressure down, and let's move on and get the mayor's transfer station conversation. Our chairman have a discussion with the city and all the other mayors on their transfer stations, and just pull this expansion off the table. Let's hear from everybody. And I think, I'm sorry, I saw you.
Chairman Phillips.
Yeah. Well, one quick second, Jeff, before I give you the floor, to maybe put some better definition on his question. If you'll remember, when we left the meeting that Republic gave their report, this committee took it under advisement, right? So to close that advisement loop, what we're saying tonight is we have now taken it under advisement, and our choice is your motion. We are closing the loop. Our advisement is we are stopping any future discussion or gathering of information. They're a moot point. We're moving on. That's how I would address Commissioner James's response. We're closing that loop.
We're closing that loop.
I think the question here at this time is, you have a firestorm, you have a chance to put it out, or you can choose to keep it going. Chairman Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I fully support the motion and the second that's on the table. And let me try to summarize in just a couple of minutes, if I can. Back on April the 12th, and I think it was Ms. Farley that alluded to a vote that happened back in 2018, back in April of that year. A resolution was presented to that county commission, that seating county commission, that would have allowed BFI access to our landfill and our property to do some testing for a potential expansion of that landfill. After much discussion, and it went on for a long time, more than an hour, a motion was made to deny that, and it passed overwhelmingly. After that motion to deny, Commissioner Piercy moved, and second by Commissioner Will Jordan at the time, to deny merger with Public or any other company to eliminate BFI 2.0 from further consideration. It had no time limit on it, just like this one has no time limit on it. That's where we stand right now. A new commission was seated in 2020, and there were several new commissioners that were trying to get up to date as it related to our future in solid waste, and most of it dealt with financials. What are we looking at financially into the future? And BFI presented their plan for the future, or in essence their vision for the future, with financials. We've asked the mayor's office, and he's given us all the information that he knows how to give us. And some of those financials are a little foggy simply because we're in uncharted water going forward, and we'll have to work our way through some of those things. The MTSU study, as flawed as some people may seem to think that it is, puts some type of financial figure for the county at $9 to $10 million a year. And that's what we've been asking for. That's what this chairman has been asking for, and let the people of Rutherford County make the decision. We've got that information. We need to put it to bed. And from the people in my district is overwhelmingly saying, even if it is $9 to $10 million, we're willing to pay that price. So this motion is proper, and this motion doesn't have an end to it. And to do something else, this committee would have to rescind this motion before they did anything. So this motion, just like the one back in 2018 that the full commission did, is a proper motion and would put an end to this and let us focus on other things such as Plan Rutherford and other things that's important to the county going forward. Yeah. So that's where we are. That's what happened back in 2018, and there's been a lot of talk, and mostly it was for financials. What is it going to look like in the future, and what's it going to cost the county? And that's what this chairman and several other commissioners wanted to know. We've got all the information that we're going to get. It's time to move on. There's no vote, there's no decision to make as far as contract negotiations or any of those kind of things. Republic has been very open and honest about their desires and what they wanted. They presented a vision, and to be real honest with you, it was a really good plan, but it's not the plan that the people of the 17th District are interested in entering at this particular point in time. And I don't think it's the plan that the majority of the people in Rutherford County are interested in doing. So I support this motion. I'm not a voting member of this committee, but I am a member of this committee, and I appreciate you letting me make those comments tonight.
Thank you.
Chairman.
Commissioner Piercy.
When I come in here tonight, I didn't realize we were going to have such a motion be made. I come ready to argue to the end. I want to thank you, Mr. Dodd, for making that motion on behalf of my district. The landfill sits in my district, and I'm very passionate about it, as Mr. Phillips reminds me quite often. But I'm passionate about my people I represent also. I do support your motion. 100%. I think we'll all be here. This will allow us to move forward with our transfer station and work on other plans for our trash, maybe recycling, just whatever this committee can work out. But by getting this fog out from in front of us about Republic, it will really help us on making future decisions and move forward. And I would encourage everybody on this committee to support this motion. And let's move forward, put our public at rest, and maybe they can go back to, in just maybe 3 or 4 weeks, putting lake pictures on social media rather than something about the commission and Republic. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Piercy. Any other comments? Commissioner P.
Been sitting so long, my knees got stiff there.
That's a club we all.
I've got quite a few things to say. First, I want to talk about long-term and what we're looking at. Back when Mayor Ketron was here, I was on our budget committee. One thing I pushed, Phil was on the committee at that time, Mr. Piercy also, pushed to put in place some money to haul trash away if for some reason our contract failed with Republic. That's been our plan B. That's still the plan that we've got. Our plan B is to put trash on a truck and pay to haul it away. And I'm telling you, and I'll tell anybody that asks, that's not a good plan, okay? That's not enough. I want to see some dynamic new ways to recycle, to have long-term effects. I want us to be able to, in 10 or 15 years, say, we don't need to be hauling all this trash away. We've got a facility. One gentleman talked about a burn facility. When I first came on the commission in '98, and I've reminded y'all of this, I went to Huntsville because they've got one. They recycle 100% of their stuff they burn, all the metals, all the glass. The ash that they use for fill in their landfills, and they use it on roads. Cost them $100 million at the time. They paid it off in 5 years. They supply all the heat and cooling for the Red Arsenal. Yes. But anyway, they supply all of that. And that's something that we could do here. You know, my idea was to stick one down in the, what is the industrial park right at the county line? Our industrial, where Bridgestone and all those are, you know, you got a railroad there, you got the interstate that would keep trash that's coming into our county off our roads. You know, to me, that was something I wanted to look at and continue to look at. But like I said, this transfer station that everybody keeps touting is Plan B. It's not enough. You know, we're not going to continue into the next century, I hope, digging a hole in the ground and throwing trash in it. That's not going to work. Now, what Phil has come up with tonight, and Commissioner Phillips, Commissioner Piercy and all, keeps going back to a vote that was taken where it was 21-0. I'm one of the ones that said, hey, we're not going to expand. You're not seeing any tears in my eyes over Republic not getting their way or what. And don't misunderstand this. But I want to point out some hard truths to you. The way our government works is the next commission that comes up here, or next month, one of us could stand up here and say, hey, I've changed my mind. We're going to have another vote. And we can do that at any time. If you don't think that's true, think about your wheel tax. Years ago, we were told we're going to get a wheel tax to pay off Oakland and Riverdale, and then it was going to go away. I see people nodding and smiling and laughing. Yeah, that's right. It did go away for a couple of months, and then it was reinstated for something else. But you still got a wheel tax. In any commission, what I'm basically telling you, the way our government works is any new body or even the same body can come back and change their mind. And you saying you want to put a time limit on this and that we have to vote to rescind that, I say, I think we need to go back and talk to our attorney again, because I think he's sorely mistaken on that. Now, personal opinion, but if you go back and look at the history of what we've done, what I'm telling you is what's happened. Long term, you know, a transfer station to me is not going to get it. It's not enough. I want something sustainable. Now, something else I want to talk about for a minute. My dad was commissioner, and I got a call one day from a realtor, and everybody in there, if I said his name, you'd know him. And he said, hey, I wanted to talk to your dad, but since I got you and can't get him, I want to tell you to tell him thank you. And I said, why? He said, well, I'd called him, and I asked to speak at one of the commission meetings, and they weren't going to let me. But Bob let me speak, and I just wanted to tell him thank you. Now, what he spoke on was voted down, and what he spoke on, my father was against. But you know what Dad told me? He said, everybody's got the right to speak in this country. Everybody. I don't care if you disagree with them or you agree with them. We've got both sides here on this trash issue. Now, like I said, I don't have any tears in my eyes over Republic. You know, they've got their black eye, and it was well deserved because of the way they handled that landfill. And to me, I blame that back on TDEC. That's why my vote the last time that we voted at the full commission is I blame the state of Tennessee because they did not regulate them the way they should have. Had they done that, I don't think we would have had these problems. I don't think we would have had these problems with them as a company. I don't think we would have had the odors. I don't think we would have had all the trash building up on the roads and all these other problems that we've got had our state done what they were supposed to do. I don't blame Republic for that. They were going to do whatever they could do. Most companies would. Now, yes, they have some fault in that. And that's why you're not seeing a lot of tears out of my eyes for them, but that's self-inflicted on them. But I'm telling you that we're doing a disservice to our community if we don't allow them to tell us sometime, and I'm not saying now, I agree with you, you know, we need to let this lie. We want to see what else we can do. But to be able to say to somebody, we're not even going to listen to you, you don't get a chance to stand up here and talk is wrong. That's flat wrong. I remember former Mayor Bragg. There was a public hearing over some annexation in my area. That's why I was over there at the city council. And someone got up to speak, and it made almost everybody in the room mad because he got to express his opinion. Guess what he said when somebody asked him why he did that? Anybody want to throw out a guess? Everybody has the chance to speak. Everybody. And if you're saying you don't want to hear anything else from the Republic, I mean, we're going to turn around and say, well, we don't want to hear anybody else from the Reserve. We don't want to hear anybody else from whatever. It's not right, and that's not the American way, and that's not how I'm ever going to vote. Now, I'm with Phil and Mr. Piercy, Chairman Phillips, and that, yes, we need to have some chance to sit down and think about it. But to me, if you're talking to Republic to say, hey, what are the possibilities, that is not negotiating a contract with them. That's finding out information. Now, finding out what's out there is what we should do. That's part of our job. Now, I have told everybody that's ever asked me, how am I going to vote on this? I'm going to vote the way my constituents tell me to vote, period. That's the way it will be. Now, a couple of other things I want to mention while I'm on a bit of a tirade here. I've had several people make comments about commissioners' votes being influenced by what Republic is doing in their commission districts. And I'm here to tell you, if you stand up here and tell me that, and if I don't get an apology from a couple, and one of them is the person that's emailed Commissioner Piercy, if I don't get a public apology from that person, I'm going to be talking to my attorney about it, because I do not sell my vote to anybody for any reason, period. And for somebody to insinuate that is infuriating. Now, if you wanted to talk to somebody that's got something in their district, you need to talk to Mr. Piercy. You know, Republic's been out working with Walter Hill School. What'd they give you? Nothing. Nothing at all. Exactly. That's my point.
I know.
No, I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying it's not right for somebody to say something like that.
Commissioner, reel it in.
Like my district, they put grass on the Oakland field. You know when I found out about it? When I was invited to go over when they had the opening of the grass field. I never knew anything about it. They'd already done it. But what I'm trying to say is people that are saying that commissioners' votes are being bought and paid for by Republic, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous, and it's a blatant lie, exactly like you said. And I'm not pointing a finger at you. I'm just saying they did something in your district. You didn't ask them to do it any more than I did. Did you get a vote for it? Did you promise them anything? No. And I haven't either. And I'm tired of hearing people make those accusations. I heard one of them tonight. Anyway, I'm through talking, so thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Piercy.
I take it as offense for somebody to make judgment on my integrity. I've never been to Republic's office but one time, Robert, one time. I sat there and listened to their show. They had people come in from Phoenix, all their black coats, nice dress, computers, the whole 9 yards. They done their pitch. I sat there and listened the first time. The man across the table said, Mr. Piercy, what will it take to get you to help us? I said, Mister, the people in my district voted me into my seat, and that's who I'm going to represent, is the people in my district. I'm not going to help you at all. And I have worked for 11 years for the people of my district, Walter Hill, Milton, and Las Casas. Haven't took a dime. I've been asked to come back and sit down and talk again. But no, I didn't go because I don't play that kind of game. You know, I don't care what they do in my district behind my back. And I'm not going to say, yeah, it's okay for you to fix my community center or fix a gymnasium building or a ball field, but my vote's not for sale. By God, I'm not cut that away, son. I'm not. If I tell you no, it's no, and that's the end. And that's what I told them, and I haven't been back. So to insinuate I knew anything about what went on in Walter Hill, you're wrong. They may have done it. That's good. I didn't attend. I wasn't associated with it.
I think Commissioner Piercy needs to get his ears checked, because I did not in any way say that he had anything to do with that. My point was, they did something in his district. He's not done anything to gain any favors from them. He's not asked any favors, and I'm not insinuating that. What I'm saying is they've done things in people's districts, and that's not because somebody promised them a vote. And he never did. I never insinuated that, and if you took it that way, I apologize. All I'm saying,
Reel it in.
what I'm
Reel it
saying
in.
is they did something for you in your district. You didn't get anything from that. You didn't ask for that.
Commissioners.
That's what I've said.
Commissioner, reel it in. You're not speaking with him, you're speaking with all of us.
Well, again, I will state, I am not accusing Commissioner Piercy of anything, but I'm not going to be accused of anything either. And that's exactly what has been happening. Is that not right?
Commissioner.
Is that not right? I've definitely heard it tonight, but I'm
Okay.
tired of hearing that. And
Okay.
I want whoever is doing that to come with me with proof to say, hey, this is what's going on. And that's not going to happen because it's never happened. I've never promised my vote to anybody.
Okay.
Not for any price.
Thank you. I probably should let it lie, but just let me say this. I understood what Commissioner P was saying. I understand the way Commissioner Piercy took it, because Commissioner Piercy is so vested in this. It's his community you're talking about. And like I said, I understood what Commissioner P said. I understood it the way Commissioner P said, but I can also understand the way Commissioner Piercy understood it. But I didn't. What I heard was basically what I've heard in the emails and phone calls too, is that you're bought off me. I'm bought off. All the commissioners that were even speaking in favor at all of listening to Republic are bought off. And I can speak for myself. That's never happened. They never put it to me like Commissioner Piercy heard them say in their meeting. And I can't speak for that meeting, but I can speak for any meeting I've been in. They never said anything about, we need your vote for this in any way to get something. Never. And if that happened, and I'm taking it that it did, I'm sorry to hear that happened, but I know it didn't happen in mine. I believe Commissioner P, it didn't happen in his. But I feel like, people say, well, you should have gavelled this person down. Well, if somebody got something out and it offended somebody, I feel like I have to let them have at least some say, and that's what I did. Now, if I'm wrong for doing that, so be it. But I try to be fair to everybody, and that's why I'm sitting here as chair. I try to be fair to everybody. And I appreciate all the comments, but we do have a motion, a proper motion on the floor, and a second. So if you would, if you got the gist of it.
Yeah. I move that at this time, Public Works Committee requests no additional information from Republic Services and cease further discussion with Republic Services regarding the expansion of Middle Point landfill.
Everyone understand the motion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Okay, passed.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Mr. James.
Before we go on other business, I do have a request I wanted to make of this committee, if possible. Next month, could we invite a representative from CUD to come by and speak to us, to give us kind of a report, give us an update of, with our current growth rate and how much water that they can pool, how much water we have access to as we project our future plans moving forward. Just start getting working knowledge of that. I spoke to a representative out there, and they are very interested in the idea, but I wanted to bring that up to see if we could invite them for next month and potentially an annual report being provided to us so that we see what our utilities needs are as we continue to grow, since we are now the 4th largest county in the state.
You say annual report?
Annual, or work it out. At least let's see how next month works when they come out to kind of give us an update and see what we want to, how often will we think we need. Do we need quarterly, annually, how often we need at that point?
I can arrange that. If they're in favor of doing it, I can arrange it. I can't make them come, but I'll reach out. Just to come and give us a report and an update basically on what they do. We don't really ever hear from them. That's a good idea.
And I'd like to also extend that potential to our electric grid as well. Just, as we're growing, as we're moving further out, we've got roads. If we can get the wiring and the pipes, we might be able to have a better understanding as the piece of the pie so we can move forward in long-term plans.
So you want both presentations at that next meeting, or you want to take them one at a time?
Well, I haven't reached out to electric yet, so if anybody has a direct contact with them, but I have reached out to CUD, and that's the one that I wanted to initially make the request for. Start speaking with them, and we'll see how that works.
So let's take it one step at a time. We'll get CUD in, and if we have other requests, then we'll do that.
That works if the committee will accept that.
Well, like I said, I never deny anybody anybody's request. If you ask for it to be on the agenda, I'm going to try to get it done. So that's where we stand on that. After all is said and done, I really appreciate everyone that's still sitting out there, but I appreciate everyone that has shown up to any of the meetings and voiced your concerns. Whether I liked them or not, it doesn't make any difference. I'm here to listen, and that's what this committee has done. We've listened. I would ask you that are still here, and anyone that has been up here, come back. Not just when it concerns something as precious to you as this, but everything we deal with should be precious to all of you. And you're more than welcome to come here anytime. I think most of you probably have my number by now, and if you don't, it's easy to find, or catch me after the meeting and I'll give it to you. You can call me anytime, day or night. I'm retired, and I came back on the commission because I've got time to do it and to try to do the right thing. But I would ask too, everyone, especially if you got really emotional, and understandably so, but if you're really emotional about what's going on in your community, what could be hazardous to you, If you're not recycling, why are you not? I'm not beating you up. I recycle. We recycle at least 2/3 of our trash. And we have quite a bit of trash, but we recycle at least 2/3 of it. It's not hard. I'm pleading with the whole community, whole Rutherford County, the whole state. Please recycle and ask what you can do to help recycle. You know, if you've got a plastic bottle blowing by your house on the street, which I have every day, we go out and pick it up. Please do that. That helps. If it's just one bottle a week or whatever, it still helps. But there again, thank you for everyone that showed up. Please recycle. Please spay and neuter too. Different topic, but please. Any other business? Okay, we stand adjourned.